Well, hello there, and thank you for tuning in to the Shameless Sex Podcast. I'm Amy, sex educator, somatic sex and relationship coach, and sex shop owner.
And I'm April, VP of an international high-end pleasure product company and boss queen sex toy mogul. We're best friends who make our own rules about who we are as sexual beings.
With everything from how to be a badass in the bedroom, to pussy praising, to top tips for bringing your relationship to the next level, we have something just for you.
So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Don't forget to head on over to our website at shamelesssex.com for more. Hello, everyone.
Hello, party people.
Party people. Welcome to episode number 9. We're at 9.
9.
Woo, that means we've been doing this for 2 months.
That's amazing.
Every week, and we are loving the numbers. It's so exciting to see more people subscribing to us. Thank you for subscribing.
And thank you for listening. We really love our listeners, and hopefully you love us just as much, and you want to review us on iTunes.
We just got back from a trade show down in LA. It was a sex toy trade show. I know everyone's always like, ooh, that must be really exciting. And it's awesome and it's fun, but it's much more like business people selling sex toys and products.
Hence the reason my voice is like really extra raspy.
Yeah.
Because I was talking and pitching.
And we're like in air conditioning the whole time, and it dries you out.
Oh, totally.
Like a lizard.
It dries every orifice out, my nose and my pussy.
Yeah, that's why we have Uber Lube to the rescue.
This is true.
It was awesome at the trade show though, because we had a number of people, and maybe you're listening, that came up to us and said that they've been listening to our podcast and they're loving it, and it just feels so good to get feedback from you all. So keep it coming, and it really just fills our hearts, because
we had somebody walk up to us and say, I listen with my wife at nighttime when we're going to sleep, and just really like I'm feeling so grateful for the access to this information and knowledge. So I'm super happy. It makes me like smile and makes my heart big and warm.
Oh, it's all mushy. So we want to thank all of you. We love you. And before we dive into our topic, we would like to, we say this in the last couple episodes, and we're just going to keep on saying it. Please, if you haven't done so, if you can review us on iTunes, it really helps our reach. The more reviews we get, the more accessible we are for folks to find us. So on iTunes and also Google Play, if you're an Android person, you can review us in there. And as we said before,
I think on our website, can't they review us as well?
Well, that's not going to help us.
Oh.
It's iTunes is kind of the most important thing to get it out there.
Okay.
So, and if you're already subscribed to us, it's kind of hard to access. What you need to do is exit out of the kind of homepage of our app, and then like search for us again, essentially. So go search for us in the app, search Shameless Sex, and from there you can actually review us. And so we would really, really love you and appreciate it.
And Amy and I are going on the road this next week. We're going to be recording in Boise, Idaho. We're super excited for that.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be at Symbiosis.
Oh, yeah. We're teaching a workshop.
At Symbiosis, we're teaching
Erotic Superstar.
It's going to be amazing. Unleashing that inner beast of an amazing human that you are.
So our topic for the day today, last 2 weeks we just did our How to Please the Dick, Men's Sexual Pleasure 101. And so we figured that this would be a great option or opportunity to go into How to Please the Pussy, Female Sexual Pleasure 101.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I know we already did pussy praising, and pussy praising wasn't just about pussy praising, it was just praising in general. So it wasn't just for pussies, it was for cocks too. So this one's going to be much more female sexuality 101 oriented, and there will be some pussy praising in here because a pussy deserves to be praised.
And I'm a vulva owner, so I'm totally into this episode and talking about it and sharing some of my experiences.
And you've even pleasured some vulvas.
I have pleasured some vulvas.
Yeah. Or a vulva.
No,
multiple vulvas?
Couple vulvas.
Good.
I got some couple vulvas.
I haven't. I've never pleasured a vulva.
Oh, wow.
It's painfully straight.
Okay. We can change that.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Okay, so we're going to take a break. I'm going to pleasure her vulva, and then we'll get back to you.
The ABCs, I'm not into the ABCs.
No, we're not going to do ABCs.
That is that's an urban legend.
Yeah, that's
not even a legend. It's an urban myth.
The ABCs. It's bullshit.
It's a bunch of
It's confusing a whole bunch of young people on how to pleasure their pussy.
But should we do the sex life update first?
Yes, sex life update.
Sex life update. Amy, you should go first.
Well, okay, so I haven't had sex in a while.
It's going to be really quick on this one.
Yeah, so I haven't had sex in a while because my partner is gone and we are in a monogamous relationship. And They are going to be gone for another 2 weeks. And it's interesting. So I went on a podcast earlier today that's going to be released, I don't know, in a couple weeks or something, on Chris Ryan, who wrote the book Sex at Dawn.
Which by the way, I have on Audible right now, and I'm listening to it. It's so good.
Oh my God.
It's super scientific, which having my bachelor's of science, I really love. But I'm learning so much. I just love the language and the information. So you should check out Sex at Dawn.
Brilliant. It's essentially about how humans aren't innately monogamous, and that monogamy has kind of evolved from
agriculture,
the farming movement, and it's brilliant. And he's not saying everyone should go out and be non-monogamous, but it's just giving some ideas as to why we partner and where it's coming from.
Which I think it's always interesting to learn about human traditions and why we are the way we are and how we were shaped. Like, we came from these tribes and then sort of branched off.
We're just monkeys.
We're monkeys that have tissue and chemical reactions in our brains. So
he had some really interesting points. He was talking about orangutan sex and oh my God. Anyways, that episode's going to be.
What's a group of orangutans called?
I don't know.
A troop.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a joke.
No, that's
good. I was like, what's the punchline?
No, it's a troop of orangutans.
Ah, a troop.
Yeah.
Do they even? Okay. All right. Orangutan.
Anyway, that's just some useless knowledge for you.
And bonobos, and how bonobos, when they bonobos are a type of ape, and that when they have disputes, they fuck it out. They make love, and the most common way
make love, or they fuck it out.
They make love. And
really?
What the most common way is two female bonobos rubbing boxes on each
other.
Yeah.
Amazing. I was a bonobo in another life.
Yeah, you were. You rubbed that box. Okay, so anyways, I was talking about, is my tangent on that podcast, about how I don't really walk this earth super horny all the time. I don't get a whole bunch of sex drive. I'm not just walking down the street. I'm kind of horny right now. I'm not just at home and just feeling like I need to go masturbate because I'm turned on. My sex drive is very much active and created. And, when I'm with my partner, we have a lot of sex. And it's something that I create for myself or we co-create. But when they're gone, I don't really have a lot of sex drive flowing for me. So I haven't even been masturbating. I haven't been having sex. So my sex, although you know what we did do, which was kind of fun at the trade show.
While I was in the other room.
Yeah, April was in the other room, having a phone call with someone. And I was talking to my partner on the phone. And we were on FaceTime, and then we decided we've actually never had FaceTime sex. And we didn't actually have FaceTime sex, but it was a mutual masturbation session. Nice. But I had to be quiet because you were in the other room. So
you didn't have to be quiet.
I
would have never. I mean, maybe I was on a business call. That would have been interesting.
There was another woman in there with you, though.
Oh, yeah, that would have been.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to be quiet, but you can make as much noise as you want. And so I definitely
We had a suite, by the way. That's why it was divided.
Yeah. So I focused the camera on on my pussy, and I was rubbing my pussy, and he got some nice pussy and ass shots while he was stroking himself, and it was pretty hot. It was pretty hot.
Then I came in and was changing,
and
she's like, "Oh, look at that ass right there." I was like, "Oh, here you go."
Yeah. Then he asked, essentially after he had his orgasm, he got to see you walking around the room naked all the time.
He's like, "That's nice.
This is the best phone call ever."
I was like, "I don't mind. Yeah, do my strip tease for you later."
Yeah. So that was fun. I've never really experimented with phone sex, and I always think back in the day we didn't have the image. Now we have FaceTime, so we have this access to getting the whole visual imagery so easily. Whereas in the back we had to be creative with in the back of the day. Back in the day, we had to be creative with just words right. Oh, what are you doing now? I never.
How does this make you feel? That's
why. What are you wearing?
Phone sex operators. Yeah. Those people.
Oh yeah.
I'm
rubbing my nipples.
It feels good. Meanwhile, they're probably doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's real.
They're not. They're in their sweatpants.
I love that because I feel like nowadays with technology and how we are, you can have a relationship with someone in Iran or someone in Australia. You can literally have a full-on relationship, and it has made our world kind of one love. It's connects people of all different cultures, different regional living, and I think it's a good time to be alive.
Yeah, we have a lot of access. It's just a good time to connect. We have so much access to being able to connect. We really have no excuses. We can't run away. We're
no.
Where have you
bad
been?
Connection.
You didn't.
I was in the forest of Bali with bonobos, rubbing bonobo.
I did not. I did not have FaceTime with the bonobos. So that's my sex life update. Oh. What about you? What you got?
Oh my!
She has a lot. She's having a lot more sex.
I've been having a lot of sex for sure, which is great because I now have a partner, and it's been really cool. I mean, obviously, it's still super new. Still getting to learn each other's bodies and get to learn about what each other enjoys and what brings an orgasm on. It's funny because definitely it's more for the past few months or a year and a half since I separated from my husband and divorced my husband, definitely was like sex for me was always more like fucking. It wasn't this connected thing. A couple times there's been connected space where I've been really feeling like all the loves, but with this particular partnership, you know, it's obviously really connected, so it feels good, and I'm not as like into fucking. I want to make the love, and so it's been different, but it's been amazing, and I really have felt like he's trying to figure out my Rubik's Cube and like what sets me off, and it's been a slow process, which I'm like, hey, it's about the journey. It's not all about the destination. So I think that it's been special. I like the sex. It's special. I'm smiling. I'm happy. I'm feeling really good.
She has a big smile on her face.
I'm kind of in love.
Not kind of. She's in love.
I'm in love. I'm feeling it for sure. Feeling like all the goodies. And I set my intention out months ago about what I was looking for in a partner. And and I don't know if I've talked about this before. I know we've talked about it personally, Amy and I, outside of the podcast. But I'd set my intentions about, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago about what I wanted in a partner. I wrote it down specifically. I did my affirmation. I would read it to some of my friends, like, this is what I'm looking for. I'm not going to settle for anything less. And this particular person really checks off every single thing, which is funny because the universe, I feel like, just gave me the person I'm looking for. And sexually speaking, I think like our sex is really great. I know it's just going to keep getting better and better and better and better. And it's been awesome. Like, we've had some really amazing sessions, but, you know, I'm happy. I'm glowing. I'm feeling great. The thing is, I've been traveling so much. So the awesome thing about traveling so much is that it makes you miss the person. So when you miss the person and you come back, the sex is all charged up and exciting. And, you just want to bang it out right away and like get to that level and then like connect. And it's been kind of nice missing him and not being fully present the whole time, being away from each other. And we haven't had the FaceTime sexy time, but that's because I've always been around people. But I don't know. I'm really into it. We haven't even started dirty talking yet, which is something I really love to do. Mm-hmm. So there's all these tools that I'm going to use later on. I'm like, hey, it's all, it's a process. So I think I'm in it when you're in it for like the longer haul. I never like to say, forever. I don't do the forever thing. That's a lot of pressure. I can't get a tattoo for that reason. But I'm like, the long term, like there's some longevity involved. I feel like there's time to figure each other out, and there's time to, see what each one likes, but I don't know. Is that a sex life update, or is that?
That's definitely a sex life update.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my sex is good. Yeah. Haven't really even used toys yet, which I'm really excited about too. To incorporate some toy play because he's into all the things. So I'm excited for all the things. And it's like all the things. So yeah, that's what's happening with me. I'm totally charged up. Sex be good. Oh, I had period sex. That's interesting.
Oh, how was that?
Juicy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, because I hadn't seen him in a while, and then I'm all, sorry, yo, like, I got my period. If you're not into that, I'm into all the things, so it doesn't matter, like, but it's all about what you're comfortable with. And he was like, all right, let's do it. I was like, sweet. He's like, I could feel your cervix. I was like, yeah, you could.
Cervix does go down a little lower when you're bleeding.
Yeah, it definitely dropped down, and I could feel it too. He's like, it like suction around the head. I was like, sweet.
Oh, wow.
It was awesome. So, but it was definitely, I have no shame. I was like, I have no shame. It's my blood. It's natural. With the white sheets, definitely had to get bleached out.
Whoops.
But it was really fun. And sometimes, depending on when I have sex with my period, which, previously I had, when I was in a marriage, we had sex on the period from time to time. And sometimes it would hurt just because of the position and the cervix drops down. But this time it was really great. So obviously I always voice it. I'm like, whoa, if it's painful, I want out. Like pull the drawstring, the ripcord, get out of there. Or the tampon string. No.
Don't pull that.
Don't pull that. The cool thing is, which I want to shout out about the menstrual cups, because one thing I have to say, like, I would love to wear a menstrual cup because it makes like pussy eating better when you don't have a tampon string. You always give me, because you can put the menstrual cup up there, because the tampon, I call it a tampon because it's like harpooning your pussy. It's like tampon. But the menstrual cup, you can have oral pleasure, and there's nothing's in the way. And you know what else I learned that's interesting? Strippers, if they wear tampons, they cut the string.
I used to do that all the time, and I'm not a stripper.
Well, no, but that's a stripper secret. I learned.
I don't think it's a secret.
It's knowledge that I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
And I love that kind of knowledge. I'm like, really? That's so cool.
Yeah, you can cut the string or you can just kind of shove it up inside of you. The menstrual cups are awesome, though.
Yeah.
They make things so much easier.
Fun Factory just came out with menstrual cups,
They're making their own?
They're making their own, and it's medical grade silicone from Germany. Oh. So they just launched at this trade show. And I actually helped with the product development when I was working for them. So that was pretty cool. And I tested some. So that's when I got into menstrual cups until I had to go get one surgically removed because my vagina isn't designed for that kind of thing.
Oh, really? What happened?
It got turned around upside down, and I was like in the bathroom bearing down trying to get that thing out, and I was like, my fingers aren't long enough.
It was that far back?
It was flipped upside down. It was like this thing called a fem cup, which had like a hook, not a hook, like a handle on it, but it got flipped upside down, so I couldn't grab onto it. It was too slippery. So I went to the doctor, and he's like, how did you manage that? I was like, I just put it in like I did the normal thing. And so, yeah, he was like, you are so funny. Because the last time I was in there, I was like, I had a threesome, and I just wanted to get a stid check. And he was like, April, your life is so funny. I was like, it's amazing.
Yeah, she knows how to have a good time, except for with the cups.
So don't stress out about the cups. That's like 1 in a million, he said. I was like, do you ever see this? He's like, no, I don't.
Well, the other cool thing about the menstrual cups is they make it so like they're reusable, so you don't have to keep throwing away tampons. And with tampons, I feel like they... like periods, bleeding, menstrual blood becomes this dirty thing. Throw it away. Just get rid of it. Like, we don't want to look at it. Like, it absorbs the blood, throw it in the garbage. We have nothing to do with it. And the menstrual cup, it's this thing that suctions to your cervix. It collects the blood for you, and then you take it out and you dump the blood out. And so you actually get to see what's going on. And to me, it just feels like it's more of a connected process as opposed to like it's this dirty, shameful thing that we want to pretend like it's not happening. Because that to me is kind of crazy. And I understand if people don't want other people's period blood on them, like that's fine. Maybe period sex isn't for you. But the fact that we have so much shame around menstrual blood and that it's like this continuous like red tent mentality of like,
right,
like go pretend like it's not here. We don't want to see it. We don't want to deal with it. It's dirty. It's gross. But
you're ashamed to buy tampons at the store or something.
Women are doing this shit monthly.
Right.
Like, let's get used to it. It's a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And plus putting something that's bleached, like I learned this because I try to use organic tampons as much as possible, but a bleached cotton up inside of you is really unhealthy for you.
Well, it's a mucus membrane. It absorbs everything you put in there.
And fibers too, because some of the fibers are released because it's obviously designed so it expands, so it's fibrous. So that can actually make your periods heavier flow. It can also give you make your cramps worse. So think about it. If you're a period haver and you're listening, you menstruate, try one of the menstrual cups. Check it out because and that's not a shameless pitch. This is just something I honestly wish I could wear a menstrual cup. I have PTSD from 2 experiences of having.
Now she's freaked out.
Well, my sister once had to stick a toothbrush out my vagina to get the other one out when I used it like a year ago.
What?
Because she was like, we need to break the seal. I was like, what do we break the seal with? She's like, just took a toothbrush. It was kind of comical. And my nephew walked in. He's 5. He was like, oh my God, what's happening? I was like, don't worry about it. Get out of here.
I just keep getting the visual of Chris Ryan with the pencil and the cat.
And the cat.
Oh
my God. That was funny.
Oh God. We actually just got menstrual cups in Pure Pleasure. We got with the brand, I think it's Lunette, which is nice. Everyone thinks of Diva Cup. Diva Cup, in my opinion, not my favorite because it's really thick silicone.
And also they're made in China, which they don't regulate silicone products in China. So you have to be careful about, in my opinion, just working from medical grade silicone companies that produce toys. You want to make sure.
Stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know about the manufacturing of the Lunette. I've heard good things because it's thinner silicone. So if you're interested in knowing more about that, then we have them at Pure Pleasure. You can go to purepleasureshop.com because they should be there.
Check it out. Get yourself a menstrual cup.
And that's kind of a good, this is all female sexual pleasure because menstruation is a part of it. So I'm glad we covered that because now we can dive into female sexual pleasure.
And if you haven't tried period sex, check it out. Just try it out. It could be a new experience for you. Feel that cervix up in there, getting lowered. Feel the things.
Yeah, it's always good to check out what you're working with.
I know.
Why not?
I like my period blood.
Oh, hey.
Throw a sheet down. Wait, you know what? Doesn't Liberator make like a nice...
waterproof blanket.
Waterproof blanket that you can throw down and then you can just throw it in the washing machine afterward.
Yeah.
Also good for female ejaculation.
It's great. Yeah, just collects everything. You pour a whole cup of water on that thing.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Non-absorbent. That way
it's the fascinator throw. We have those at Pure Pleasure too.
Oh, see, there you go. Look at that.
Hey.
I need one. Can I get one later?
Yeah, we'll hook you up with one.
Sweet.
Yeah, you take good care of you.
All right, perfect. Just preparing for the future.
Yes, why not?
Of period sex.
She's getting one and ejaculation.
And ejaculation, which...
Did you do it?
Not yet.
Oh.
You know what's funny? So in the Caribbean, I female ejaculated easily with this person that I'm now dating. And ever since then, it's been harder to happen. And I don't know if, I don't know. It's been a buildup slowly. And it's interesting because I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming in the air tonight.
Hold on.
But good. It hasn't happened yet, so I'm working on it. Just working on drinking all the fluids to get it ready.
Well, on that note, let's do this a little backwards and let's talk about female ejaculation.
Okay.
And since you're already doing that, I mean, normally we would go in and like talk about like building the energy and all that and blah, blah, blah. But female ejaculation. So, it's still debated if it's real or not, which irritates me.
Real? Yeah, it's real.
Every woman I know that ejaculates is like, it's fucking different than peeing.
And
people.
Female ejaculate, it's interesting because it's basically like clear, maybe a little bit of color, like a little bit of...
Well, it has traces of urea in it because female ejaculate comes out of the urethra. Fun fact, everyone, so does male ejaculate. And male ejaculate, if that guy just goes pee, and then he ejaculates, there's going to be traces of urine in it because there's traces of urine that was left in the urethra, but we're not freaking out about his ejaculate, are we? So female ejaculate, same thing. It's a spongy tissue. If you look at it like anatomically, there's a spongy tissue that surrounds the urethra to protect it. That's the urethral sponge. And so when you get aroused, blood flows into your genitals. So it fills up this area with blood and you get engorged and juicy. And this spongy tissue absorbs the water out of your bloodstream. It's like literally when you take a sponge to water, it just soaks it up. That's what it's doing. It's filling up with water. And then when you get, when you press into it through G-spot stimulation, or if you have an orgasm, you can actually expel that fluid. Think of just squeezing a sponge. You're pressing into it, squeezing a sponge. Either your muscles are doing it for you when you have an orgasm, that clenching of the pelvic floor, or pressing into the G-spot, and it just presses into that, and then it can expel fluid. And so, to me, knowing that on like a physiological level, there's some really good books that talk about it, like The Women's Anatomy of Arousal, really great book. We have that at Pure Pleasure too. It's the first book I've ever read that actually talks about female ejaculation on an anatomical level, because most other books are like, it's beautiful, Almarita, which is great, but we want to know what's happening here.
Well, I have to say, when I first female ejaculated, it was with the magic wand, because
on the clitoris.
On the clitoris, externally. But what I feel that triggered it was because I was using Kegel balls for like a couple of, I don't know if it was like a month or 2 months, just building up the pelvic floor strength, which I think that because that muscle is in control of so many things, I link my female ejaculation story to my pelvic floor strength, which I think physiologically speaking, that's like
totally
helpful.
Well, orgasmically speaking, so what's happening when you have a genital-based orgasm is the genitals, the pelvic floor, the pubococcygeus muscle, which is on the pelvic floor, and vulva owners have it, and penis owners have it too. It contracts, but if those muscles are weak, the contraction is going to be weaker. It's just there's not as much muscle structure to move. If those muscles are strong, then your orgasm is going to be stronger. So yeah, if your pelvic floor is really strong, your orgasm is going to be stronger, and there's more muscle strength that's going to squeeze that sponge, the urethral sponge, to expel. And my theory about magic wands, it's such a deep thudding vibration. It's so powerful. You put it on the clitoris, it vibrates so deep beyond just the head of the clitoris and it vibrates deep into the body. Like it's almost like it's that powerful that I feel like it's actually vibrating that G-spot tissue.
Makes
sense.
And
then you have the orgasm and it just contracts and then you expel the fluid.
I can feel when it's going to happen too. I'm like, oh, it's happening. It's all happening. But I think that if you're interested in female ejaculation and it hasn't happened for you, check out some Kegel balls. Start with some Kegel balls.
Yeah, build up the muscle
build up that muscle and then that muscle strength, right? Yeah. And then check it out. And if it still hasn't happened, try the magic wand because it's so powerful, or the queen bee.
Yeah.
Hot Octopus makes the queen bee because it's finally released. Finally, the queen bee is available, but it's the same thuddy, oscillating, rumbly vibration, but it's oscillation
deep into the body.
So you'll get it deep inside, and it's very small. It's more compact than the magic wand. So queen bee, it's happened with me with the queen bee too, but it's such a new toy that everyone else probably hasn't had the same experience, hasn't had the chance to have the same experience because it's just getting to market.
It's just out. And so some other things about how to ejaculate. I mean, there's that whole part of it is like the stimulation piece, but there's some bigger pieces there. One, relaxation. If you're uptight, like literally you're not relaxed, you're kind of like clenching your muscles. Maybe you're not feeling safe, or, you know, with a partner, like, I mean, not safe like they're going to kill you, but safe just like, not like that, but safe like you just don't fully trust them, you're not fully connected with them. It might be hard to ejaculate.
It's also get out of your head space.
Get out of your head, yeah.
Get or if you're worried, pussy. Get out of your head and into your pussy. Be like, oh, this feels good.
Well, and if you're worried also about like, but what if it's pee and what if I pee? Getting rid of that fear, that insecurity, and there's ways to do that. One, have a conversation with your partner. Like, okay, so I want to learn to ejaculate.
Get a towel.
Yeah, well, I want first a conversation. Like, I want to learn how to ejaculate, and I'm a little worried about this. Like, what if it's pee? And just get clear on like it probably isn't, because it's pretty hard to pee when you're aroused, and we all know what it feels like to pee. Like when we start peeing, it flows. It's pretty hard to stop. It just keeps flowing.
Right.
When you ejaculate, it's actually, and they call it squirting, right? But for most people, it's gushing. It's like little puddles of boom, boom, boom that comes out.
Mine's not. It doesn't literally squirt. Like it's not like a. I couldn't. You know, write my name in the snow with it. It's like a gush. Yeah. It's like a flow out.
Yeah. And it will come out in little gushes. This feels very, very different than what peeing feels like. And so just create that safety of, and then laying, like April said, laying down towels or waterproof blanket or something like that, just to create some more whatever.
And no shame about it. Feel awesome about it. Like, yes, this is, my body created this. And there's actually, people don't even know, really, like science hasn't really been able to determine what ejaculate is made of. Like,
yeah, well, there's not a lot of money behind testing. There was somehow money behind that little study of like a group of 7 women in France that they were like, and we conclude that it is just pee, which is because there's traces of urine in it, which is going to happen. But again, there's traces of urine in male ejaculate. So
you're creating scientific, like an anomaly with your body.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
Reason why there's that OMGS. So OMGS is this online program that is super awesome, and what is research based. And so what they did was they interviewed 1,000 women and asked them how they like to pleasure themselves. You know, how did you discover how you like to pleasure yourself and have an orgasm? And they narrowed it down to all these different categories. In season 1, so it's an online season, you just watch these seasons of videos. Season 1 is just external stimulation, so vulva and clitoral. And it has all these categories. So one would be like edging, and another one would be consistency. You know, one woman's like, I like consistency in the same spot on my clit right here on the left-hand side. And another woman's like, that would drive me crazy. I like edging. I like to build it up and then like not give myself the orgasm right away. And so they have all these videos where it's these interviews with these women, and they're telling you how they like to pleasure themselves, and they actually show you in this little video, very tasteful. They're not touching them. They're naked. They're showing you on their bodies, but they're not touching for pleasure. They're just like literally showing you. And then it has even on some of them a little module where you can practice on a close-up of their vulva, like practice with the mouse, the strokes, and it gives you feedback. And this one isn't on female ejaculation, but this is a great way for folks who own a vulva and they want to learn more about their vulva, like how to try new pleasure techniques, or maybe they don't understand their bodies, or for vulva admirers who want to learn how to pleasure a vulva. It's really great for that. But season 1, when you buy season 1, that money automatically goes towards season 2, and season 2 is actually going to be research on female ejaculation, G-spot. So there actually will be real money and research going towards female ejaculation.
Which is amazing.
Finally.
I want to support that for sure.
Yeah, I'm super excited about that.
OMG, yes.
Yeah, omgs.com. It's awesome. I highly suggest checking it out. So the other things about female ejaculation, though, besides relaxation, the towel thing, also on the other side of the G-spot, G area tissue is the bladder. And so what happens is when you're pressing into it from G-spot stimulation, quite often it feels like a lot of pressure in your bladder. And so a lot of times people feel like they have to pee. If that's what you feel like, if you have a full bladder, of course, go pee. But for most people, that's actually the initial phases of you're going to ejaculate. So actually going with it, just being like, all right, I'm going to go with it. This feels different, feels maybe a little uncomfortable because it's new. And if you keep pressing with it, then you might actually be able to ejaculate. Like that's kind of like the sign that it's right around the corner.
You definitely need to drink a lot of fluids. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to be well hydrated as well.
Yeah, hydration, it's a big part of it. If you're not hydrated, it's not going to happen.
Right. So if you are into getting down with the female ejaculation station, go get your fluids on.
Yeah, go drink your water.
Drink some water.
And the last tip would be to bear down. So like if it feels like you're about to ejaculate and you're right at that time, to actually push out as if you're like, I like the expel when you're releasing the Kegel, right? So when you clench the pelvic floor to do a Kegel exercise, when you release and push out the pelvic floor, that's like bearing down. You can do that, and it actually can help to expel the fluid too. So there's a lot of options out there and techniques to learn, but it's definitely possible. And on that note, let's talk about orgasm.
Orgasms!
Because female ejaculation can go hand in hand with orgasm, and it can also be its own thing and not be an orgasm. So it can actually be, and it feels different. It feels more like a release. Like you have this pressure built up, and now you have this release of fluid, and it just feels like a nice release. So that can be its own thing. Or it can go hand in hand with a genital contraction orgasm too. So they can be two separate things, and they can also.
My orgasms usually come in twos.
With what? What does that mean?
Like I'll have one, especially if it's a female ejaculation, then I'll want another one back to back. So I'll be like, one's great, but I like the twos.
It's like you opened up the door for more. Like we had one, now let's have another.
Right. Well, that's what I also love about being, owning a vulva and being able to have multiple orgasms.
No refractory period.
Right.
Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
back to back. I'm just like, ooh, sometimes it's
Stack them up.
Sometimes my clitoris is too sensitive to use toys or to go back to that. But a lot of times if it's an ejaculation, I can also have a second orgasm right after. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. On that let's talk about the clitoris.
Do you say, is it clitoris or clitoris?
I was going to say, I don't know. I'm more of a clitoris person, but I like the Taurus.
I like the Taurus
like an
too.
Astrological
right,
sign.
right. Mess with the bull, you're going to get the horn.
That's good.
That's good.
So the fun fact about the clitoris, it has about 8,000 nerve endings, and that's twice as much as that of the penis. Hey.
Wow.
Now, with that said, what we see on the clitoris, the part that was just like the little nub with the clitoral hood, that is only like the beginning part. That's the head of the clitoris. The clitoris actually extends back. So there's a whole shaft that actually extends back and then connects to that G-spot, G area tissue. And then there's clitoral legs. So if you take your fingers up kind of in like a wishbone shape, like your pointer and middle finger, there's like their whole clitoral structure is a lot more than meets the eye. Those clitoral legs actually extend down back behind the labia majora. So you have a huge clitoral structure with a whole bunch of tissue over it, but whenever you're rubbing vulva, you're essentially rubbing over clitoris too. And the clitoris, when you're touching a clitoris, most people actually don't like having the head of the clitoris stimulated because it's so sensitive. It's usually like the back of the shaft, like a little bit behind. So like on the clitoral hood, just not like directly on the head. Or if it's on the head, it's like only at certain points. But if you put most of your focus on the head, it might be too much.
Right.
Yeah. A little intense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So clitoris, this is the only body part that has been designed for just for sexual pleasure. Like that's all it does. It's just for pleasure. All the other body parts on humans, they have other purposes, but the clitoris is awesome because it's just there for pleasure.
Oh,
I know, isn't it cool? It's just a pleasure.
It's like your pleasure switch.
It's your pleasure switch.
Ooh.
And so we constantly get these questions from women, are like, why can't I have vaginal orgasms? I don't have orgasms when I have sex. It's probably because the sex that you're having isn't accessing your clitoris. It's probably more like porn star sex where it is, penis in and out, in and out, in and out.
That's why you got to get your grind on.
Yeah, it's all about grinding so that the clitoris gets hit. The clitoral tissue, the labia, the labia minora, there's a lot of nerve endings there, so those like to be stimulated. But if you're literally just doing a thrusting in and out, you're missing all the good spots. And so that's why porn is the worst educator on how to have sex, because that's what they're showing is a whole bunch of in and out stuff, and that's not what vulvas love.
I reached a negotiation about I'm always like, okay, I know you enjoy pounding or the in and out. I enjoy the grinding. Let's do 50-50.
Yeah.
And that's always a win-win.
It's like pound grind.
Pound grind, because I for sure need, I like being on top and getting the grind on. So my clitoris
I think
can
that
get a lot of access.
I think a lot of grinding in the beginning as you're getting aroused and turned on, and then like moving to more like thrusting when you're completely turned on, because also thrusting, like penetration and thrusting doesn't feel that great until you're fully aroused, because then the cervix lifts up to make room. If you're not fully aroused and then you insert something inside of you and you start thrusting, it'll hit the cervix because the cervix is super low. So that's another thing to consider, like the slower movements. And this is another thing that whenever I teach this workshop, my Female Sexual Pleasure 101 workshop, I always say, go slower than slow, and then slower than that. Like whatever the fuck you think slow is, go slower than that and do that for a long time. And this includes using your fingers, this includes using your mouth, and this includes using a penis or a dildo, all of the above. For the first, whatever it is, 5, 10, 15 minutes of touching a vulva, slower than slow and with a lot of intention and presence and a lot of lubrication goes a long way, because you need to really warm up this part of the body so it's ready and fully aroused to receive more if you're going towards more. Never ever starting with just fast, vigorous movement. I don't know one vulva that wants that. Do you know any vulvas that want that?
No.
Right from the bat, just like, no. No, not even externally.
Warm up. You have to warm up the space. You need to be like, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
What's happening?
And,
and lube is so important.
Oh
I know
my
we've
God.
talked about lube many times, but lube is so important because it's skin and it's externally. You need just a little bit of lubrication, like anything, like a well-oiled engine. You need to make sure you're giving it enough space to work with where it can kind of float around and feel good. Well,
and then there's that shame with the lube of like, I don't need that. Why should I need that? My pussy should lubricate itself, or my partner's pussy should lubricate itself. There's this idea that should be true, and that's actually bullshit. There's a great book called Come As You Are that talks about this.
That's a good one.
It's brilliant, and talks about this idea called arousal non-concordance, meaning what we think, or what our body does is supposed to match our arousal level, and it doesn't always do that, right? So an example would be erections. Like, penis owners are getting erections all the time and they're not even aroused. It happens all the time. They wake up and they're aroused. They get their boner in the middle of the night doesn't mean that they're having sexy dreams and they want to fuck. And so the same thing with vaginal lubrication. You can get a whole bunch of vaginal lubrication based on hormones or whatever and not be aroused. Or you can be fully aroused and not get a lot of vaginal lubrication because hormones play a big part of it.
We talked about this on our pussy praising podcast, but for sure. I mean, just to get in there, it's all depending on what did you have to drink that day? Yeah. What did you, there's so many variables.
Where are you in your cycle?
Yeah. Right. Are you on an antihistamine? Yeah. There's so many different things.
Stuffed up. But this is why lube is always a great option, because then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether the time of the month with your hormones, doesn't matter any of that stuff. If you're on antihistamines, there's lube to the rescue no matter what. And it's not to say, like, lube isn't an excuse to not do all the foreplay arousal things. Like, definitely still do all of that stuff and add some great lube. Uber lube.
Right. Yeah. And feel like shame-free about how your pussy smells, and because that's something that I had, a lot of shame around. I'm afraid that I'm stinky. I don't know. I think it came from a previous experience somehow about shaming my pussy smell. But now I'm like, I like my pussy smell. And the other day there was like a whole oral session, and then went up for the mouth kiss, and I was like, citrusy. I taste like citrus.
I taste delicious.
He's like, you really love yourself. I was like, that's right. As I should.
Yeah. Get my pussy juice all over my face.
Yeah. Like, maybe I drank a lot of lemonade.
Oh, lemonade. Yeah.
I don't even like lemonade.
I'm kind of thirsty for some lemonade right now. It's a little hot outside. I need ice cold lemonade.
It is hot outside.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's hot in here too.
It's nice. We've had worse.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. We're snuggling. Okay, so let's see. What else? Where else should we go? So I would like to say, let's see. Let's talk about starting with, because we kind of went backwards here a little bit. Just on the note of like the foreplay-ish / and foreplay, I think not has like a bad rap, but the more foreplay, the better. When I say foreplay, it's just anything but fucking penetration. And a lot of people just get stuck in this mode, especially if you're in a long-term relationship.
The dry humping is amazing.
Oh my God, dry humping.
Dry humping, like pretend you're...
Even if you're in a relationship for 10 years.
You're in a middle school situation. Yeah. Yes, it's so much fun. With your clothes on, just like touching each other. It's super fun.
Or just making out.
Or just making out for a while. And then just like, I don't know, I love a little dry hump session just to change it up on the couch like you're watching a movie.
I know a lot of women that are in long-term relationships, like married with children. And I remember telling like one of them that, I was somewhere with my partner and that we just like made out for a half an hour, and they were like, I want to make out. I was like, why don't you make out? But they just don't make out anymore. because that's what happens
with tongue. Do like the French kiss with tongue.
Dedicate a night to just like all we're gonna do is make out tonight.
Right, and put sex off the table.
Yeah.
Just take sex off the table and just do like a seriously junior high sesh, like a little maybe titty touch.
Oh, I touch your nipples.
And then like I do love just like the dry hump. So I used to do that. But back when I was married in a monogamous situation, just to change it up because it added an extra element that was so different, and it was so hot. I was like, "This is so hot."
Pussies love it.
Yeah, and then it usually ended up we'd have sex in the end anyway.
Yeah.
But
well, you can do that, and I mean, we're saying maybe try not, but if you want to, whatever you want. But as long as you try to get the make out, if that's what you're looking for. I mean, just doing things that warm up the body, get you fully in your body and fully aroused, and then it makes all the other things much more enjoyable. You makes it so that you're more present for it. Your body is more prepared for it. I also hear a lot of complaints from people in long-term relationships that now that they figured out each other's bodies, it's like only their lips, nipples, and genitals get touched. The rest of the body is forgotten. So don't forget to rub the rest of the body. Kiss all over the body, like around the belly and the neck.
Scratch
and the back.
like do like a gentle touching of the back. Or I love that. I think that kiss all over.
I love my partner will randomly sometimes just like I'll be sitting in a place where my foot is somehow raised, and so he has access to my feet, and he'll just bend down and kiss the top of my foot. Like
That's
I'm like
so hot.
I'm like a goddess. And
that is beautiful.
Oh my god,
you are a goddess.
I'm
Amy.
a fucking goddess.
Fucking unicorn goddess.
We're unicorns.
Unicorns.
Yeah. You better respect that. Oh yeah.
I do like a little toe sucking, I have to say.
Ooh, yes you do. I've actually seen her toe suck before.
Yeah, full on. Even if they've been in shoes all day, I'm like, here you go. What do you think about that?
Like
how do you like me
all
now?
Day.
All day. I mean, I don't demand it ever. I'm just like, it does turn me on, especially when it's unexpected. Just like I wasn't, calling for it. It just sort of happened. Mm-hmm. But try that. Maybe you have a foot fetish that you never knew about. I wouldn't call mine a fetish. I just think it's fun. Mm-hmm. Because it feels like you feel like you're a queen.
Yeah. Yeah, there is something about the foot praise that makes you feel like a queen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now feed me some grapes.
I mean, maybe I'll get a pedicure, if there's like a lot of shoe walking one day.
Don't shame her stinky feet.
No, my feet are not stinky.
Ooh. Oh. Okay, let's see. What about G-spots? G-spots.
G-spots.
That's when we kind of talked about that because that goes hand in hand with female ejaculation. Okay, how to find a G-spot. So first of all, the G-spot is not up and in and around a corner and down like this crazy dark maze of a cave. It's actually only about a half a finger's length in.
Like 2.5 inches?
It's
6 centimeters.
Yeah, that looks about right. Was it centimeters? Who works in centimeters
We could
anymore?
go global with this podcast.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Centimeters.
Okay, for all y'all who use centimeters. And then we got the inches. Just so you all know, we have a dog in the room. So
he's licking my arm right now, like heavily.
If you hear any weird noises, that's what's going on.
Oh my god!
April's getting him at licks this whole time.
Yep, pretty much.
He's like, I'm gonna play praise your pussy.
No, he's not
on her pussy.
He's definitely not clothed.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so about a half a finger's length in, and then it's curved up towards the pubic bone. So that's why people always have kind of like the come hither motion when they're talking about G-spot stimulation, or when you look at G-spot toys, they have a curve. So you can stick your fingers in a vulva, and this is another thing. When you're putting
in a vagina,
in a vagina, well, vulvas, in a vagina. When you're putting your fingers into an orifice, whether it's your own or someone else's, I suggest first of all we already talked about lube and going slow, but almost letting this orifice invite you in. So quite often we're kind of forceful. We're like, I'm ready to get in, so I'm just going to push it in. Instead of that, I invite people to so say this. I have my hand right now cupped as in a little loop, like it's a vulva. Let your fingers rest outside of it just without even moving them. It's kind of like letting them say hello. So you're just lightly kind of like pressing into the vulva, but you're not pressing all the way in. It's just to the outside of it. So it's still vulva because we're on the outside. And then you'll slowly start to kind of like push them in a little bit, but not with a lot of force. And you'll feel the vulva open up. And now you're in the vagina, and it's letting you, and you'll slowly glide in. But you're doing it when it's ready. Like with enough lubrication, you'll just kind of glide in. And I call that kind of like being invited in, because so many vulvas are used to just something just being kind of shoved in there, and maybe not shoved, but there's a little more force as opposed to this like slow. I'm gonna honor you in this way and take my time and not just like try to rush things so that we can get from point A to point B. And then when you're in, if you're trying to go for some G-spot stuff, curving up and in. So you curl your fingers up towards the pubic bone, so towards the belly button. And you can just do like a come hither thing really, really slowly. In fact, before you do that, I recommend curving the fingers up and just kind of resting them on the G-spot. And the G-spot is kind of like a spongy tissue on the top of the vaginal canal that feels like almost like the roof of your mouth, but much more spongy. And so you push into it and just let the fingers kind of rest there like a hello. And then maybe do a little tapping. So just kind of tap them up and down, up and down. And then maybe starting to do a little back and forth movement. So just kind of gliding over the G-spot. And maybe then trying to do some come hither motion with your fingers to stimulate the G-spot. And always starting slow, slow, slow. Like super slow for like 5 minutes. Maybe even 10 minutes. And then speeding it up. And then checking in. Like, how does this feel? Do you want more pressure? Do you want less pressure? Checking in with what's happening with the person that you're stimulating and then going from there as opposed to just going in and milking that thing really hard like you see in porn. They're just like, no, 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 no. Not what most, maybe they'll like that eventually, but that's like minute 10 or 15.
Right. Yeah. And then definitely you want to go slow and then for me, when I like to start slow and then using the hands or the hands of the person that's stimulating me to kind of pound the clitoris out a little bit. That helps like arousal, I think.
When you say pound, what does that mean?
I like the word pound.
Okay. Now, when I think pound, I think you're punching it.
Almost like the come hither, but then, I don't know, there's some like fingers also resting on the clitoris to give you like some external stimulation.
So as you have fingers inside. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
okay.
There's like an all-inclusive situation happening.
So it's probably not pounding.
No, not pounding. Eventually you could say pounding. Like I like the juices get flowing when you start.
Is it like a smack or like a graze?
God, I don't know. I'm trying to think of the best verb for this.
This would be a lot easier if we could show everyone.
I know it would be. It's kind of hard. I mean, pound is an overuse of what I'm talking about. So
pound, I think this.
Yeah, that can happen.
That's like really, you're really, really,
right.
really warmed up.
But after 5 or 10 minutes, which sounds like
20
or 20, right? Well, it depends on who you are. If you're new to this, definitely just go slow, slow, slow. But then eventually. You may want more.
Hey, so you've actually not only, I mean, we've had people go down on us, but you've actually gone down on some vulvas.
2.
What was that like?
2 different vulvas?
Yeah.
Or maybe 3.
Tell me about that. How was that? Like, what kind of techniques did you do?
So,
what did you do? How was it?
So I was in a relationship with a female-bodied individual when I was, I think, 19 to 21. And I always, it was really interesting because I had a lot of experience with having my pussy eaten between like my high school days. I was like only had sex with one, PIV, penis and vagina sex with one person. So, but that my second relationship was with a woman, and it was interesting because she taught me so much about my own vulva, but it was really cool. Like we were communicating. I think like it was a lot of, I mean, God, it was so long ago now, but it was a lot of like fingers, and we never used toys. Toys weren't even in my repertoire back then. So it was all like mouths and fingers, and we'd do a lot of grinding on each other, a lot of humping, which is really fun. But I learned a lot about what I wanted when my pussy was being eaten by eating her pussy. So it was really cool. A lot of tongue action, but like soft tongue was really something that she was into. Every vulva is different. Every vulva prefers something else, but it was a lot of, hands and tongue at the same time. So you're getting the full experience.
Oh, so there's like a tongue kind of working around the clitoris and then fingers inside. Yes.
And then sometimes sticking the tongue inside the vaginal opening and then doing, but it was always really fun, and it was always no toys, which is so funny looking back. And then moving forward, I had like this, threesome. It was like a foursome with my ex-husband, and met this girl at the pool.
You had a pool party.
We had a pool party in Palm Springs, and it was very unexpected, but there were a lot of greyhounds involved. And it was pretty interesting because it had been a long time since that experience of eating my first pussy, and it was totally different. And it was a lot of, again, just a lot of doing what I kind of like, which is soft tongue, then making sure the hand is involved to like prep the area, going back to the tongue, and then licking it gently. I think gently is probably the best advice that I could give. And asking, how does this feel? Do you like this? But I have to say, like, I I think that I'm better at getting my pussy eaten by
Than giving?
I mean, I love to give, but I think that in my experiences, I can be a pillow princess.
I'm just gonna lay here. You do me.
And then there was also an older woman that
Mrs. Robinson.
that some things happened, but that was a while back, and that was really fun, and her husband just watched.
It seems to be a thing that happens where someone's just in the corner like, yeah.
It wasn't a lot of pussy eating there, and it was in a pool. I was underwater.
Whoa. Wait. Did they have a snorkel?
There should have been, but no, I just went under. It was like,
wait, okay. So
it's really hard to describe over the...
Clearly it wasn't a long session.
No, it wasn't. It would just come up for air and then go back down.
Oh, wow. That is dedication.
It didn't last very long, a couple minutes. Okay. And then I was like, you know what?
I'm about to drown. This isn't worth it.
It was just fun. I've never done that before. I thought it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I also wanted to try that for a fellatio, but didn't have the opportunity.
Oh, my God. This dog, by the way, everyone, I'm just going to tell you, he likes eating socks. He keeps bringing the socks.
The dirtier, the better.
Yeah, he likes.
You notice how they picked your socks.
At least it's not dirty panties.
Oh, yeah.
I have actually heard of dogs swallowing whole pairs of dirty panties. This actually has happened before. Like, they like the pussy juice.
Oh, yeah. Or eating tampons out of the bathroom.
Oh, my God. And then going to the doggy hospital and having to,
Well, no, just like maybe chewing on them.
No, I do know someone whose dog actually ate the tampons and they had to go, and it was very expensive surgery because they grow, they expand inside of them. Anyways,
oh boy.
So that was fun.
That's off topic. So that was my pussy eating stories. I'd recommend, the softer the better, and then go in. Never like the hard tongue when people do they make
like pokey jabby tongue.
Yeah,
no.
In my experience,
like soften.
That's
soften.
Never been.
You know who has a really good example
for folks?
Reed Mihalko, who was on our show episode 6.
I think it was 6.
5?
The casual sex episode.
Casual sex. So he does it. Teaches a nice pussy eating class, and he has everyone practice on raspberries. So you pretend that the raspberry is like either the opening of the vulva, so like the labia minora, or also it can be like the head, the clitoris. And so if you take a raspberry, and so where the whole of the raspberry, so the little hole of it is actually facing towards you. And then you press it up to your lips, and then you take your tongue lightly, kind of moving around a little circle in that hole. You'll notice the raspberry is so gentle that if you press too hard, you'll break it. That's how you want to touch a clitoris.
There you go.
Nice and soft to the point where you're just pressing into the tissue and stimulate it, and so slowly and softly. But if you go too hard, it's going to be too much. So practice on a raspberry.
And you could also, or you can tell your partner to practice on the raspberry, or
on you, and just give them feedback.
Right.
Yeah. Or if you're practicing on someone, you can ask them questions. More pressure, less pressure.
I always
how's this?
reward them the cookie. Yeah. Remember giving them a cookie?
Give them a cookie.
When they are doing things as I feel good, I'm like, that feels great. I love that. Keep doing that. Keep doing that.
Yeah, anytime something feels great, praise them, because then they'll keep doing it.
Right.
It's brilliant.
And if it doesn't feel good, you can just kind of explain maybe a little more to the left, a little more.
Backdoor anal now.
Yes. Pound it out.
Yeah, pound it out. Hurry. Faster, harder. And whenever I talk about slower than slow and softer than soft, it isn't to say that some people don't want a good pounding. Like, I have plenty of times I'm like, I would just want you to fuck me. But that's when I'm really, really warmed up. That is not minute 1 or 5 or 10. That is like deep into the session. And it's not all the time.
P.S. I have pubic hair, and
me too.
So what I do sometimes to make the pubic hair softer is I put conditioner on it.
Oh, see.
So I shave it down for sure. It's like a landing strip or whatever. But I put I leave conditioner on there. It does make.
Did you leave in conditioner?
No. Well, I could have some, but it makes your pussy hair soft, and I've asked. I'm like, how does that pussy hair feel? And it's like, we're just so soft. I'm like,
so silky.
It's conditioner. No,
conditioner is better.
So if you feel like maybe you have some coarse hair, you have pussy hair, you want to make it softer, try the conditioner. It does really help.
Yeah, I'm a fan. We talked about this on the podcast, right? Did we talk about pubic
I don't know.
hair?
We've talked about it before.
I love pubic hair.
I like a landing strip.
I have more than a landing strip. I have like a triangle, but it's well trimmed,
right?
And every time I'm like fully waxed, or I just feel like a naked little girl, and it takes away some of my pleasure because the pubic hair I can grind with, and so I'm like, I
I've always been a fan of pubic hair.
Me too.
I'm
not a 5-year-old.
And if you don't like it, that's totally your. Or if you,
yeah, you can run every. But there's just a lot of shame about pubic hair.
Right, and for me, I enjoy my pubic hair. I think it's awesome to have there for various reasons. And conditioner, I'm telling you, condition that pubic hair if you want to.
Never heard of that.
Never heard of that?
Does your pubic hair ever go to the hairstylist?
I wanted to shave a microphone on it once. Just like, is this thing on? Is that thing on?
Or like an arrow.
Yeah. Like it's all about that thing right there.
Yeah, just this is the direction. Well, but we come up here for up to the other parts of the body too.
Right.
And then come down here.
Right.
You could do like a treasure map all over your body. That would be kind of brilliant.
Okay.
Like start here. Start. We don't want to draw all over your face, but like here, they want towards your lips, and then bring them down to your neck, and then back up to your lips, and now onto your shoulders, and then the back of your neck. Ooh, that's good.
I do want to say we touched on this with the citrus flavors, but sometimes there's shame in when someone's going down and you kissing them afterward.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're like, oh no.
Have no shame in that. Kiss your partner after they go down. It's kind of hot. You're just like, I love my juices. Yeah. I love.
Well, they came from your body,
right? So feel good about that.
It's funny when people are like, I can have your juices on me, but I can't have my own juices on me. Or like,
try your juices once in a while. There's no shame in that.
Taste your flavor.
Be like, what do I taste like?
Yeah, today I taste
like a fine wine tasting.
A little sour. Yeah. Today I'm a little sweet.
Today I
a little salty.
Made up some residuals from that.
Too many grapes.
Too many fermented grapes.
Maybe I should have more water.
Maybe.
Yeah. Why not?
So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, pussies.
What else? What else should we touch on?
Oh my God, there's so much.
There's so many things
about pussies. It's kind of endless. Okay, so we talked. The cervix. I am not an expert on A-spot stimulation yet, but I do know a little bit about it. So A-spot is around the anterior wall above the cervix.
It's basically above the cervix,
towards the belly button, but way back.
And it helps with basically stimulating lubrication.
Yes,
and certain toys can actually access the A-spot, like the Lady B Fun Factory Lady B
can get because of the curve.
Because of the curve,
it's way back there,
and it has like this tapered look to it. So it was actually designed with the A-spot in mind. So
there's like different levels. Right, you can do a clitoral stimulation. We'll give you a genital-based clitoral orgasm. You can do G-spot stimulation, which can give you more of a internal orgasm or just an ejaculation or whatever. And then the cervix, when you stimulate the cervix, it's usually more associated with like a deeper full body transcendent orgasm because it's so deep inside of you and it's so vulnerable and it can really bring out a lot of like crygasms.
Right. And I love deep penetration. I think because my A-spot is fabulous to access. And I'm always like, get it deeper in there.
The thing about the A-spot though is the cervix is really sensitive. So if you're like, just by thrusting, you're probably not going to hit it because you might just run into cervix and that might not feel good. So like A-spot you access through deep stimulation, but it's very refined deep stimulation that gets to a certain spot that feels really good.
And sometimes your cervix may, depending on where you are hormonally or in your cycle or whatever you are, monthly cycle, it might be at a different position. So your A-spot isn't as accessible as other times.
It's always different.
Trial and error. Learn about your body.
Yeah. I think a good way to explore the A-spot stimulation though is to do a finger exploration. It's probably easier to have a partner do it because it's pretty far up there unless you have like, you might get a hand cramp. But an exploration like another, kind of a giving and receiving night where you're just receiving and they're giving and there's no goals, and ask them to maybe explore this part of you. Can you try to kind of like gently and lightly, kind of like what we were talking about, the G-spot, really slow and soft around the upper part of the cervix, like on the other side of it towards the pubic bone, and just to see what happens and just have them rub there really lightly and giving them feedback and going with it to see what happens. And then maybe you'll tap into some cervical.
And if you're unfamiliar with how the vagina / vulva like anatomically works, you should just look at an image, be like, oh, that's where the cervix is. Oh, that's what my uterus looks like. Oh, because I think it's interesting to learn about your body and take a mirror. Look at your vulva.
Stick your fingers
in there.
And understand your body. I know a lot of people don't like sticking their fingers inside.
I know.
It freaks them out.
Me too.
But how do you know what's happening there? Like, figure out where your cervix is. Figure out where you have nerve endings. This is a good exploration.
It's your body.
Like, when you take your fingers, so the labia minora, so just the labia lips, they have a lot of nerve endings, like light licks and touching with the fingers and vibrations that will feel nice there. And then when you go in for the first inch into the vaginal canal, same thing, a lot of nerve endings. But when you go further, there's not a lot of nerve endings in there. That's why the thrusting isn't really doing shit for you because it isn't hitting the parts with nerve endings. And so literally take your fingers in you, like 2 inches in, feel up, feel down, feel to each side, and you'll notice that you don't have that many nerve endings except for right in the entrance and then up around the cervix. And it's quite fascinating. And that's what will be like, oh, no wonder the penetrative sex I'm having that doesn't access either the cervix or the clitoris isn't doing that much for me, because it's hitting parts that don't have a lot of nerve endings.
Right.
Which is porn's
And
fault.
just
Porn.
Yeah. But I really do believe in getting to know your body. It's so important. And I think like whether it's your vagina or your give
ass.
yourself love, your ass, give yourself love yourself, hug yourself, all of your body, your genitals and your arms, your head, your face, your feet, no matter what they are, what they look like.
I love you, body.
I love you, body. Your perfect body. It's a vessel. You should appreciate it's your vessel on this planet. Give it love.
Well, I like what Brene Brown says, it perfectly imperfect. Like,
perfectly imperfect.
Love your
There's
flaws
no
too.
perfection.
And I forgot who is it. So there's someone that says, I feel like it's Elle Chase. I think I heard Elle Chase say.
That's a sex educator.
Yeah,
awesome
another sex educator. She wrote like Curvy Girl Sex or something.
Yes.
So I think she said that, I think this is her. I could be quoting the wrong person. Something about how they always say like, learn to love your body. And she's like, you know what? You may never fully love your body, but learn to like accept it, just to accept you and learn to find things about yourself that you do love, as opposed to like, I need to love this thing as a whole. And if I don't, it's very...
Amy, what do you love about yourself?
Oh my God. I love my breasts.
Nice.
I'm like the topless girl.
Awesome. You are. Love your breasts.
I always like to be topless. That's fun. I love my long legs.
Nice.
I love my scars. I have scars like here and there on my legs. Like I like my battle wounds from like, running into things, or like from I have some little like dots on them.
Jessica's daily affirmations.
Yeah, I love my legs. I love my scars. Hair. Oh, my hair. I have some badass. Yeah, you have some
hair. Great hair.
Yeah,
mermaid hair.
My cheekbones, those are pretty good too.
I love all of you, Amy.
Yeah, thanks, Chip. What do you love about your body?
I love my arms. I do like my legs. I have nice legs. Mm-hmm. They're very muscular because I'm very athletic.
She has a very like a gymnast build.
I was a gymnast for 13 years.
Like a gymnast.
I love my hair because I don't do anything. I roll out of bed. I just get it wet and it's there. I love my eyes.
I love your eyes.
I love my pussy because it gives me so much pleasure.
Her pussy is magical.
It's magic pussy.
Yeah. Yes.
And I love how charismatic and fun I am.
I
love my brain because it works most of the time.
I love your brain too.
Thank you.
You're a social savant. You're brilliant. You're absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thank you. You all should do this right now.
What do you love about yourself?
What do you love about yourself? Just say it. Give yourself 5 things of what you love about yourself.
Yeah.
I love my titties.
Yeah, she got nice titties.
I like that I call them titties.
I love my nipples. I used to hate having my nipples stimulated, and now I love them because they got turned on about a year ago. Like they were off. They weren't off. They were just. I didn't realize that they were so sensitive, so it just didn't feel good when people touch them. And now they're completely turned on and activated. It's like I have 3 clits.
Ooh.
Like when you know what I love? I love being on top, riding my partner. Because let's talk about that actually.
Oh yeah, getting on top.
Ways to get to the G spot, like the positions.
Yeah. That's how I access it.
Riding on top, facing them.
Yes,
yeah,
grinding.
That's perfect.
And I get in there. That's like one of my favorite positions. That's actually how I can come with penetration. That's like my go-to spot.
It's great, and it essentially is rubbing the G spot, and you have control over as the person being penetrated. And for me, that's like where I get most of my female ejaculation from, my G spot orgasms. And what I'm doing that, I always take my partner's hand and put them on my nipples, and I have them rub my nipples at the same time while I'm riding their cock, and it's fucking
That's
amazing.
Nice. That's really nice.
Oh yeah,
it's all the things right there. All
the things.
It's
juicy. Yeah, juicy. Another good G spot position is with the person being penetrated on their back with their legs up, and then the other person on their knees with their either cock or dildo inside of them with this. So the legs are up, like your feet are next to their head. You're facing each other.
Right. Yes, yeah. I get that.
Yeah, that's
like
a good
that.
G-spot.
I will say this: a nice plug for Hot Octopus. Actually, if you, let's say you are with a penis owning partner and you own a vulva and you want to, your partner maybe has erectile dysfunction, or
which isn't always
a dysfunction. But we talked about this on our penis on our DECA episode. Yeah. But we make this thing called the Pulse 3 Duo. You can actually put it on the penis, and then as you're creating like the foreplay situation, the vulva can feel the vibration on one side, and your partner feels the oscillation on the other side. Check it out. It's the Pulse 3 Duo. It's a great couples toy designed for a male-bodied individual, but the vulva can also experience some stimulation because you can use it in like missionary style or cow person style, cow human style, and it creates a whole new experience for the user that I think is awesome as a couple's toy. There's also WeVibe you could use as a couple's toy to stimulate the vulva as well.
That one could work too.
During play, because I think toys are a fun way to connect.
To spice things up and just add something new. As again, we talked about in the sex toys one. They're a bonus.
Strap on.
Yeah, strap it on.
You wear. You can get a dildo that you wear inside your vulva, and then you're penetrating a partner.
Oh, and then it's stimulating you at the same time. It's a double, like a double dildo,
like a double and a dildo. So you can penetrate. Share.
Yeah, share vibe.
The share vibe, right? Yeah. And then there's you can wear it without a harness, and to experience what it would feel like to penetrate someone if you are a vulva owner and you want to penetrate.
This is getting me a little excited. I'm like a little turned on for the first time in like 3 weeks.
Oh snap! I'm happy that
I don't know which part of it though. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Oh,
just kidding.
Okay. Is there anything else we should cover?
There's probably 5.
There's a million things we should cover.
I do want to comment on doggy style.
Oh yeah.
So doggy style to me, that is that's a deep penetration position.
Definitely, you can hit the cervix with that one.
Yes, and when the body isn't warmed up, it can be a little bit too much. So that's something I feel like should be saved until when the body's really warmed up.
Are you doing the should?
Oh, sorry. I prefer that it is saved. In my opinion, it works best when it is saved when the body's warmed up because then the cervix is raised. And then when it is, it can feel really nice. And it's a really great position to have someone kind of thrusting from behind you, either with the dildo or with the cock. But also the person that's being penetrated, you can take one hand and rub the clitoris at the same time. Or even the person penetrating you, they can take a hand and rub the clitoris. So it's a great position because it gives you access. Because when you're missionary, the clitoris, like you can still access it, but it's kind of a little like squish between skin. And doggy style makes it so that you can add clitoral stimulation because, again, this is how most women are having the orgasms. They're adding clitoral stimulation at the same time to penetration, so or just clitoral stimulation on its own. But it's usually either a finger or a toy or bodies are somehow rubbing onto the clitoris to get stimulation at the same time as other things or maybe on its own.
I always use a little bullet vibe in doggy because it's small and I can just put like as much pressure / vibration on the clitoris from doggy, and that really does help reach orgasm. The little bullet vibes, woof. And you get into different like stages, like where you're on all fours, but then where you
lower down
and then lower down because then
it's like plank and then lower your
right.
Finger.
It's like yoga,
yoga.
Downward doggy style.
Yeah.
It's actually quite nice to change position, and then I like to actually put my hands back. So,
did they grab your hands?
Yeah, and they grab the hands, and then you're like
Superman.
I don't know if that has a name, but then like it's just really like it just gives you a different sensation. Put your arms back, have them grab your arms, and then bang it out that way.
That's hot.
Yeah, it is hot. She's getting all aroused over here.
I gotta go.
Meow, little kitty.
That's sexy.
Well,
I feel like there's 5 million other things
so
we can
many
say,
things.
and we'll probably be talking about pussies again another day because this is, it's endless. It's endless.
And also, just please, like enjoy your pussy, love your pussy, or love your partner's pussy.
Get rid of the shame. We talked about this in other episodes. Tell this person, like, if you're going down on them, like, put your face in their box and look up at them and say, I love the taste of your pussy. I love eating your pussy. I could do this all day. And that will totally help them to relax, get rid of that pussy shame about, I'm taking too long, I don't smell good, I don't taste good, all that stuff that most people have been conditioned to think. That will totally help them to drop in and be able to experience more pleasure.
You taste great. You look great. You're amazing.
And of course, if they don't taste great, then there's ways to handle that too. But,
right.
but I mean,
in a nice way.
In a nice way, yeah. It's so. I mean,
there's actually a vulva balm that you can use too to help with.
It's all natural. It's not natural. Like, we don't recommend that bullshit like Summer's Eve. Or
no,
don't
douching is really bad for your pH.
Yeah.
And
it clears out all the good things.
Yes. So and that Summer's Eve, it's all chemical based. Yeah. You should try to if you want to. I just shouldn't. No, in my opinion, there's other options if you do have. Of course, dietary changes, but short term, you can use some vulva balms that help with just changing sort of the smells in your vulva if you're not comfortable with it.
Yeah,
they're all natural.
Exactly. Yeah, there's options out there, but don't use any of that over the counter.
And if you have questions, you can always email us, shamelesssexpodcast@gmail.com, and we can answer questions about anything that may come up, or sexually related / anything.
Yep, we like hearing from you.
We do.
And then the shout out to our website, shamelesssex.com, where you can go and find out more information about us, our offerings, our podcast, and then you can find us, of course, on iTunes or Google Play. And don't forget to please review us. We say this all the time, but we love your reviews. We love your feedback. We love our fans.
We do this voluntarily. We're not making any money. We're doing it just to give you the empowered way to live, and just to feel good about
good
you,
for us.
Information. It feels good for us.
What is that called? It's compersion. We're getting off to you getting pleasure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you do send us a review, it might help someone else out there feel like shameless in their life and in their situations.
Yeah, girl. Who runs the world?
Girls. We run our own worlds. The world does revolve around us. Yeah. Well, thank you for tuning in. We absolutely love our listeners, and we look forward to next Tuesday and another podcast with Amy and April. So
wait, can I just say, see you next Tuesday?
Oh, that's the acronym for cunt. All right, ciao for now.
Like what you hear? Well, then head on over to shamelesssex.com for more podcasts and information on our latest happenings.